Hey guys, welcome back to Mad About Skin. In today's video, we're talking these products, moisturisers, and whether moisturisers could actually be damaging our skin. This is a conversation which seems to be taking place online, with a lot of people, including some dermatologists, saying that moisturisers actually are doing more harm than good. We should kind of step away from this step in our skincare routine. I wanted to do my research on this because I think, the best decisions we make for our skincare routine are informed decisions. And as with everything in skincare, there's kind of two sides to this story, which is what I want to pick apart and share with you in today's video. So sit back, relax, let's talk our moisturisers damaging our skin. Now, before we get into this video, I would love to know your take on moisturisers. Are you the sort of person that cannot leave the door without slathering your face in a thick layer of occlusive moisturiser? Or like me, do you kind of see what the skin's doing day by day? Maybe rely just on a moisturising SPF? Sound off in the comments section below and let me know any of your moisturiser favourites and holy grails, because recommendations you make really do shape the products I try and review here on the channel in the future. Whatever your take on moisturisers, hopefully if you're like me, you like the channel and the content we create here, you'll also reach down and give this video a big thumbs up and a like. It's a great way of supporting the channel in general, and I'm always so grateful for each and every one of you that just takes the time out of your day to like the videos. I've got a lot to say and I want to keep this short, sharp and to the point, so let's cut that waffle and just delve straight on in. So I think the talk about moisturisers being unnecessary in a skincare routine certainly isn't new. It's something that's been talked about for decades. I think about 2 or 3 years ago, moisturisers became like the must-have. We were constantly being told that it was like a non-negotiable step in your skincare routine, and even if you had the most oily, acne-prone skin out there, you still needed to use a moisturiser. This is something I definitely bought into, and whilst I didn't necessarily like a lot of the moisturisers I was using, I would never skip that step because it was engineered into my brain that you have to use a moisturiser. Now it's kind of gone full circle, and a lot of people are saying the moisturisers we're using could be doing more harm than good in our skin. So kind of what's the truth? What should we be doing for the health of our skin? Well, in this video, I'm going to break it into different sections. We're going to talk about, some of the myths surrounding moisturisers. We're then going to talk about the benefits of moisturisers and including one in your skincare routine, but also some of the negatives, the drawbacks that you need to be aware of. If you want to skip to one section more than the other, the timestamps are all there in the description box below. So let's bust some moisturiser myths first. So first of all, the myth that you should never use a moisturiser if you have oily, acne-prone skin. This isn't the case. I think you have to choose your moisturiser very carefully, but there is one out there for everybody. If you have super oily skin, then perhaps reach for an oil-free moisturiser. You can still benefit from some of the great ingredients that contain within these products that could help soften the skin, help retain moisture within the skin, particularly in those winter months where somehow we manage to be oily and dry all at the same time. Trust me, this is my skin type. I've been there. And moisturisers can really help with that. Another myth is kind of relating to the drier skin types, that moisturisers make your skin lazy. If you use moisturisers on a regular basis, it'll actually trigger the body to produce less oil in the skin, which kind of creates this vicious cycle. This just isn't the case. It's been disproved many times. I'm going to leave a link in the description box to a shorts video that Dr. J did on this very topic, because I think she did it justice in a way that I never could. The oil that's produced in the sebaceous glands in our skin is controlled by a lot of things, including hormones primarily, and actually the amount of moisturiser you do or don't use on the skin has no bearing on your body's natural ability to produce oil. So let's just dispel that myth. So when it comes to the benefits of reaching for a moisturiser, well, first and foremost, it can give that temporary relief. If we have that dry, tight skin, particularly after our skincare routine, it feels like a relief to put that moisturiser on the skin and just feel all that softness, that hydration coming back. Now, this can be a little bit of more like sorting out the symptom rather than dealing with the original cause. If your skincare routine is leaving you feeling totally stripped and dried, there's probably some ingredients within there that just aren't right for your skin type. You should finish your skincare routine before your moisturiser with the skin feeling soft, supple and hydrated, and the moisturiser just locking all that in. But it's a really great benefit that you can get from a moisturiser to just seal in all that great work you've done, add a little hydration to boot, and also just soften everything down. Another great benefit of moisturisers, particularly ones with great ingredient profiles, is that they can soften rough skin and texture. I think a lot of people associate the roughness to our skin just to be dehydration. That's not always the case. Sometimes the hardened proteins in our skin can benefit from moisturising ingredients such as urea, which is a humectant, but also a skin protein softener. So if you choose the right moisturiser, it can soften the skin, it can hydrate the skin, it locks in all of your skincare routine, and honestly, it can pay some really great benefits. If you choose a moisturiser with certain occlusives added to it, it can also prevent transepidermal water loss, which is where the moisture in the skin, the water, is lost to the atmosphere around us. This is something that's particularly an issue if you have a very dry skin type, and so using a very occlusive moisturiser can help offset that. Like I say, seal it all in, all that great hydration and work that you've done with the rest of your skincare routine, to just kind of keep any dryness at bay. So at this point in the video, we've understood the benefits of a moisturiser, and although you might be thinking, okay, with all those amazing benefits, why would anyone say that moisturisers could be potentially harmful to the skin or doing more harm than good? Well, that's because, like everything in our skincare routine, there's kind of two sides to that story, and moisturisers aren't benign. There are some negatives that I want to call out in this section of the video. So let's first talk about potentially overloading active ingredients. This is when I said earlier, keep your moisturisers super simple. Often brands are now including active ingredients within their moisturisers to kind of create a unique selling point, get those cash registers ringing. However, if you've already used those ingredients in the rest of your skincare routine, you might actually be doubling up. This is an issue primarily for my skin type, at least, with niacinamide. I can tolerate a small amount of niacinamide in the rest of my skincare routine, but if I use a moisturiser that's then loaded with niacinamide, that doubling up starts to create redness, sensitivity, and irritation. Of course, the ingredients that you're sensitive to will differ person to person, which is why it's really important to patch test any product, be it a moisturiser, a serum, a toner, behind the ear 24 hours before you apply it to the rest of the face. Just make sure that it's compatible with your individual skin sensitivities and needs. However, because of course there are lots of different ingredients in moisturisers, sometimes we can risk just overloading it, doubling up on what's in the rest of our skincare routine, which is why you could create some sensitivities and irritation. A lot of people find, particularly if you're oily or an acne-prone skin type, it's easier to just skip the moisturiser altogether. That way you're limiting the total number of ingredients and risk of doubling up. This is certainly something that I look to do. I'll often incorporate a moisturising sunscreen as kind of like a 2-in-1 to kind of do away with the moisturiser altogether. This is definitely something that will work with combination or oily skin types. I covered some of my favourite moisturising SPFs in a recent video that I'll link up there. You're probably not going to be able to skip the moisturiser if you have a very dry skin type, nor should you, but just be mindful of the ingredients that are contained within that moisturiser. Make sure you're not doubling up. The second issue I want to call out is using humectant-rich moisturisers in dry climates. I think this is the main reason a lot of people say, actually, my moisturiser is drying out my skin, doing more harm than good. Problem with this is humectants are fantastic. They draw in and retain moisture within themselves, which plumps and hydrates the skin. I love a good humectant in my life, and it takes water from the atmosphere around us and draws it into the skin. However, if you're living in a super dry climate, there's no moisture in the atmosphere for the humectant to grab onto, so it'll actually take moisture from the deeper levels of the skin into the surface, which makes it more likely to be lost to transepidermal water loss. This is why, absolutely, if you're going to use a humectant in a dry climate, you need to pile on occlusives on top of it to prevent it from doing just that. This sucking up of moisture from the deeper layers of the skin actually causes and triggers dehydration, so be very mindful of the number of humectants in your moisturiser, particularly if you're in a very dry climate. If, like me, you're living in the UK and it's super damp practically all year round, you're absolutely fine, and you can kind of use the moisturiser that you enjoy and choose, but be very mindful of those humectants if you're in a drier climate. I think the final issue is that people don't match the moisturiser they choose to their individual skin types and needs. You know, we're very mindful of choosing the right serum, the right actives, the right toners for our skin type, and then when it comes to the moisturiser, we just throw anything on our skin, whatever's cheap at the drugstore. This definitely isn't the right approach. Like every step in your skincare routine, you need to match the moisturiser you choose to your individual skin's needs. If, like me, you're super oily and acne prone, go for an oil-free moisturiser that'll just feel much more lightweight on the skin. If you've got a drier skin type, go for something more occlusive, some more heavy-duty moisturiser, because you're going to need it to match your skin type. A lot of people turn their backs on moisturisers and saying doing more harm than good because they haven't chosen a formulation that matches their skin type, so they find it's breaking them out or it's leaving them more dry than what they actually started with. Moisturisers can be great additions to your skincare routine, but you need to match the one that you choose to your individual skin's needs, what you want to get out of the product itself, and of course your budget. So always keep that at the forefront of your mind when you're shopping for a moisturiser. I think a lot of the time when people say moisturisers are damaging my skin, they're doing more harm than good, it's a case of they haven't chosen the right moisturiser to match their skin type, which is why they're not getting the outcomes that they wanted. So there you have it, guys, like a brief rundown of whether there's any truth to the conversation that moisturisers are damaging our skin. I think moisturisers, like every step in your skincare routine, should be used with your skin type in mind. You need to choose the right ones for your individual skin's needs, and using the wrong one could absolutely be doing more harm than good, but I don't think this is universally applicable. Don't turn your back on moisturisers just because of this conversation. Just hone in your mind on what ingredients are contained within them, is it matching your skin type, and giving you what you need in terms of product performance. Hopefully this has kind of simplified this, so if you hear this conversation online, you kind of know how to make the right decision for your own skin. Wherever you are in the world, guys, stay safe, stay well, and love your skin. Take care. Bye!